from teaching, and after the teacher showed a video that allegedly glorified a Japanese colonial rule. The incident sparked controversy, leading the school to issue the highest level of disciplinary action it could, which was a written warning. The teacher, who was responsible for event education, a role focused on teaching students about the significance of various commemorative days, was not a history teacher. The school acknowledged that the teacher's choice of video was a misguided attempt to provide different perspectives on these commemorative days. Recognizing the inappropriateness of the content, especially for younger students whose historical understanding is still developing, the school issued multiple apologies. Busan City is set to host the festival Shiwol, a series of 17 international events concentrated in early October as part of its efforts, to become a global MICE city. The city will sell integrated tickets for these events. This is the first time Busan is attempting such an initiative. In international news, a British Foreign Office official who worked in counter-terrorism has resigned in protest against the UK's arms sales to Israel, claiming the government may be complicit in war crimes. Mark Smith wrote to his colleagues on Friday local time, stating that he had expressed his concerns at all levels within the Foreign Office, including through official whistleblowing channels. Now taking a quick look at the weather here, Busan continues to be under a heat wave advisory with the mercury reading 33 degrees Celsius. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
You can improve yourself and your life by focusing on things that are good for you. What does that mean? Well, that includes getting rid of that negative self-talk, practicing a little bit of self-respect, managing stress, and resolving conflict in your relationships. Whether you just want to boost your mood or actually get better at time management, develop healthy personal habits, or focus on self-growth, self-improvement is a key to enhancing your quality of life. And today, we're going to talk about some ways to make your life better. It's Monday, August 19th. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your host, Casey McKeever. Let's get the show started. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan. And Simple Plan actually is a Canadian pop punk band, if you're not familiar. And that song is all about being a kid and kind of feeling alone, like nobody cares about you. And you can hear it in the lyrics. You know, they're probably delivered with a little bit of a wink. But the lyrics kind of sound a little painful, right? The lead singer's talking about being trapped in the house while everybody else is out having fun. Or perhaps if they're having fun. And the group could actually relate to those feelings of adolescent anguish because when they wrote this song and released it, they were still in their early 20s back in 2002. And, you know, they had those fresh memories of high school still floating around in there. And the song, interestingly, actually saw a resurgence in popularity in April 2020, shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic began. There was a short-form social media that used I'm Just a Kid in a challenge, and that involved family members recreating sentimental childhood photos to the song. And you never know how things are going to get popular again, or for what reason. So very interesting. And an interesting way to start off the show for sure. We're coming to you live in the studio in Busan on this Monday afternoon. You're listening to us here on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're broadcasting on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GFN FM 98.7 FM. And thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. I'm your host, Casey McKeever. I was absent for a couple weeks, so I want to say thanks so much to Nick for filling in, and in a very quick pinch. Like, I suddenly had to kind of make plans to go to the United States, so I really appreciate him filling in and doing a fantastic job. I mean, you know, he's a consummate professional, and he has that British accent. You know, I wish I had that sometimes. So thanks so much to Nick for filling in for me. We are streaming right now on YouTube as well, if you want to join us there. If you go to YouTube and search BEFM or Busan 영어방송, you can see us streaming right there. I got my Hometown Pride t-shirt on. Yeah, Chanticleers. You might have to look up that word. It's some kind of bird. So you can see us right there, streaming right now, of course, on the show. I do need to let you know, however, when we do play music on the show, the songs will be muted on YouTube. There is a music copyright issue, and we apologize for the inconvenience. However, the show, of course, is uninterrupted on FM radio, and we do have our very own smartphone app. You can go to the App Store on your phone, and you can just download it. And if you search BEFM or Busan 영어방송, you can download the app, log in, leave us some comments as well, and listen to the show anywhere. So that's, we hope, of course, to get the music issue resolved as soon as possible, but that's what you can do in the meantime. We've got a lot coming up on the show for you today. In hour number 1, we've got Hot Off the Press. We are going to listen to 2 of the newest tracks that have recently been released, and I'll give you some background information about the songs and the artists. And also in hour number 1, we've got Need to Know, because today is Monday. And Chris is going to come in today and bring us some under-the-radar stories, perhaps not in the mainstream media, but still important things that we need to know. In hour number 2, we're going to go through our daily list. And in the intro in the show today, I was talking about how to make your life better, right? That's probably a really good topic to start the week with, right? On a Monday, every day, like every Sunday rolls around, I'm kind of like, oh, here we go, another week. What do I want to fix? What do I want to do better this week? Well, hopefully this is not too late. I'm going to help you out today. In the afternoon on Monday, we're going to talk about ways to make your life better starting today. And also in hour number 2, we've got Me, Myself, and I. I'm going to share a story about our human experience, what it is to be human, what we do as humans, how we behave, how we change. And today is about kind of later in life. We're going to talk about how to avoid feeling lonely in later life. So yeah, that's something. While I was in the United States, I got to see a lot of older relatives and see what they're up to. And, you know, loneliness is an issue that everybody deals with occasionally, but typically as we get older, it becomes a little bit more palpable. And also today in hour number 2, we're going to have our perfect playlist. Today we're going to have songs about freedom for our perfect playlist this week, and we'll have 2 songs for you with that theme. That'll be our theme for the week. Freedom is something very important. I just watched the show. I was watching it on the plane. It got me into it. A Gentleman in Moscow. I couldn't sleep on the plane, so I was watching that, and that's a big topic. Being free. Freedom is very important to a lot of people, and we'll play some songs related to that topic. And of course, I will be checking your messages throughout the show. Hi to Young Nim there on the YouTube, for example. You can message us that way. You can message us on Kakao Talk for free if you want. You can send us a message also if you type in shop 9050 or pound 9050. That'll cost you 100 won. What should you send me a message about? Well, you could tell me how you're doing today, or you could answer today's question of the day. I've got a question for you today. My question is, what are some of your habits that you want to change starting tomorrow? 여러분의 습관 중 내일부터 바꾸고 싶은 것은 무엇인가요? So I thought for myself immediately, procrastination. I had a hard time waking up this morning, get out of bed. You know what I mean? I was just kind of laying there for a while. I'm still in that like jet lag time. So I woke up at like 5 a.m., bing, eyes open, and then I was like, I can't get out of bed. I hate that. I want to be able to be one of those people who just like jumps right out of bed and like gets right to doing whatever I'm supposed to do. But not so much. So that's something I would like to change. I'm going to file that under procrastination. And thank you for the nice messages, Lee Kelly Nim and Choi Hee-suk Nim, welcoming me back to the show. I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you so much. And yeah, let me know, what is something you would like to change tomorrow, starting tomorrow? One bad habit, one habit you just want to get rid of. And also, I do want to let you know, I was in South Carolina for 2 weeks in the United States, and it was hot there, but it is actually noticeably hotter here in Korea. There is a heat wave warning that's in effect in most parts of the country, so avoid outdoor activities as much as possible. When going out, wear light clothing, a wide-brimmed hat, and carry a water bottle. At construction sites, strictly adhere to heat safety rules such as water, shade, rest, and actively implement the heat wave break time system during the hottest hours. Thoroughly prepare for the heat wave, such as drinking enough water and having a short break. And if you have symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, or a headache, use a cool place to rest. So that is a little bit of advice because there is still a heat wave warning in effect here in South Korea. And it is no joke. It's noticeably hot here. When I came back, I was like, wow, this is actually hotter than South Carolina. That's like a first for my experience. So, but with that being said, please send me your messages. Let me know what habits you would like to change from tomorrow. And we're going to take a quick song break, and then we'll be back with Hot Off the Press after we listen to Hard to Beat by Hard Fi. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Hard to Beat by Hard-Fi, and that was another English accent that I particularly enjoyed there. Right, it's English accent day, I'm feeling like. Very good. Now it is time for Hot Off the Press, and we do this every day, Monday through Friday. We bring you 2 of the newest, hottest tracks from around the world of music. And there are so many songs released every week, of course, but we do our best to bring you songs that we think you're really going to enjoy. Our first song today is called Check by Flo. Flo is an emerging R&B trio, and they've just released this brand new single. Check actually sees Flo proudly owning their lover girl status. They're flaunting all the ways that their partners are meeting their relationship goals, whether that means loyalty, trust, or just plain love. And this new single also comes with an accompanying music video directed by Troy Roscoe. And in the video, you can see the girls throw a fun-filled slumber party while listing traits that make a perfect man. I think I need to watch this because I'm wondering how many of those traits I got. Probably not many, I'm guessing. They talked about the song and they said, Check is a lover girl anthem. It's a refreshing take on relationships for us and is different from anything we've released in the past. It comes from a softer, happier, and more loving place. It feels great to all be in relationships, so it only felt right to drop a lover girl anthem for the summer. New word of the day, lover girl. I didn't know that was such a thing. I learned something today. Our second song for today is If You Were My Girl by Alex Sampson. Sounds like it's the flip side of the relationship here. This is continuing a breakout summer for Alex Sampson. He's a buzzing singer-songwriter and a vocal powerhouse, and he unveiled this shimmering new single called If You Were My Girl. And in the track, you'll hear some 50s doo-wop, definitely. You'll hear some breezy harmonies, some bright piano, and a loose guitar riff. Sounds like magic to me. The chorus definitely soars, and the emotions overflow as he pledges, If you were my girl, I would never run away. Yeah, don't run away. Don't do that. He recently ignited a wave of excitement because he was performing Pretty Baby as part of the America's Got Talent auditions, and it actually surged to over 2.5 million internet views since the beginning of the month, so Alex Sampson definitely getting some attention as well. Our 2 songs for today on Hot Off the Press. First up, Check by Flo, and If You Were My Girl by Alex Sampson. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. reboot, and that was definitely a little bit of 50s style doo-wop in there, especially that reverb at the end. Yeah, it's beautiful. That was If You Were My Girl by Alex Sampson, and before that you heard Check by Flo, and those are our two songs for Hot Off the Press for today. And I got a bunch of messages I would like to share. The question of the day is, what are some of your habits that you want to change starting tomorrow? 여러분의 습관 중 내일부터 바꾸고 싶은 것은 무엇인가요? So I got a bunch of messages all over the place. Some things about diet, it seems like. Let's see. If this thing will open. Open. All right. That's a little slow. Let me go to another one here. Okay, for 1437M. Oh, thank you. 1437M says, welcome back, Casey. I do believe you are well. And taking care of let me try that again. Taking good care of myself is the top priority and the first step of loving and enhancing my life in general. Then I think after recharging, I could have enough energy and resources to love and look after people around me and beyond. You sound like you've got a system. That's cool. I don't have one of those things. I don't have a system. It sounds like you got a system. You know what you need to prioritize in your life. I think I'm going to take some cues from you. And you also say, great to hear you've been to the States. And thank you very much. Yes, it was a 2-week trip, so I've been gone the whole time there. And speaking of today's daily list, which we'll definitely get into in hour number 2, as a person who enjoys being a better woman step by step every single day, I'm looking forward to listening to that segment around 3 p.m. That's right. The daily list we'll be doing right around 3 p.m. So a little plug for ourselves there. The daily list, we're going to talk about some ways to make your life better starting today. But my question of the day was, what are some of your habits that you want to change starting tomorrow? So let me see if I can open it this time. All right, there we go. Lee Kelly Nim says, maybe eat and sleep more regularly. Yeah, so kind of make your schedule a little more defined, right? At regular times. I have an issue with that as well. I get into a routine and then perhaps, traveling around half the world, that throws everything off. I'm trying to get back into my routine right now. I know how you feel. And Choi Hee-suk Nim says, well, maybe I should move a lot and eat less because I put so much weight on. I'm serious right now. I'm on a diet and hit the gym every other day. I wish I could lose 5 kilograms. So it sounds like you want to change your diet is the main thing, right? If you're hitting the gym every other day, that sounds pretty good to me. I hit the gym like once a year, and I feel like that's all right. So if you're doing every other day, I can't imagine being able to do much more exercise than that. So it sounds like you want to change your eating habits. And that is something that definitely takes a lot of work. I was stuck on an American diet for about 2 weeks. The unbelievable amount of salt those Americans eat. I couldn't believe it. Everybody complains about it, and I'm like, nah, it's not that bad. It's that bad. I was like, wow, yes, American food is a little bit, little salty and a little bit lack of vegetables. I had to scrounge for vegetables. I got another message from Young Nim, who says, I want to stop imagining that one day I will get married. Interesting. So that's, in other words, your daily habit is kind of, you're like, I'm going to get married. I'm going to get married, and you want to change that. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to change those inner thoughts that we have, those things that we feel like we must accomplish or must do. But if you want to make a stop to that, you're the only one who can do it. So there you go. That's something you can change starting tomorrow. Just wake up, and then when you feel that thought creeping in, think of something else. Maybe easier said than done, I guess. If you have an answer you'd like to send us, you can reach us here at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You can also reach us for free on the Kakao Talk app or our very own smartphone app. You can just search BEFM or Busan영어방송 on both of those apps or for both of those apps, and you can message us that way. And I'll be happy to read some more of your messages. They're kind of, yes, a whole variety of different things that people want to change. But it seems a lot to be about diet and being, regular. Yes, organizing. Cool. So let me know if you got some more. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back with Chris and Need to Know. Well, that music means it is time for Need to Know, and Chris is here with Need to Know on this Monday. Welcome to the studio, Chris.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome back.
Thank you. And probably anybody watching on YouTube saw we were chatting during the break. So he was already in the studio, to be honest. Yes. We were chatting about phone issues and all other kinds of things, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, it's good to be back. I'm happy to be here. And I had a question of the day. Would you like to give it a shot?
Oh, sure.
So the question was, what are some of your habits that you want to change starting tomorrow? You could just do one, you could do 5, it's up to you.
So I think if I really think about it,
Yeah.
I do a lot during the day, during the school year. And if I really had to say, I do way too much, so that by the time I get home, all the little things don't get done. Like
Okay.
the cleaning that I need to do, or like during breaks, I just crash because it's just too much.
Right.
So I think focusing more on balance.
That worabel, work-life balance.
Yeah.
That one.
Getting all, like, even the stuff that I like to do is
Right.
all lumped in there. It's like all my hobbies, all my things like that. But being able to, prioritize my mental and physical health from fatigue issues rather than continuing going and doing things constantly keep going.
Right. Okay. And you know what? This is something I hear people talk about a lot these days. Did you watch the Olympics at all?
I watch some things. yeah.
Okay. And they talked about that. I was watching it in the U.S. as it went on, so of course I'm hearing like the U.S. broadcast, and it seemed like almost every athlete in every whatever sport they were participating in, that was a big discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was talking about mental health and making sure they take care of themselves, and it seems like a lot of things that a lot of people are focusing on that these days.
I did like the poster child for that, Simone Biles, talking
Right,
about
for example.
giving up. Like, she got the case of the twisties, and so
Right.
she just stopped competing. Nothing wrong with that.
Right, and everybody at the time was like, "How could you do that?" And she's like, "No, that's what I would need to do for me."
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that kind of discussion. Noah Lyles was another one that was talked about a lot. I don't know if you saw him running. Not racing in the car. He was running, but it was a race. It was amazingly fast. But he actually got sick. He was he physically got sick and then couldn't compete at the end, and he tried anyway. I mean, it was amazing. But so a lot of people seem to be talking about that kind of balance, taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So cool. Good answer. I appreciate that. But of course, we're here today for Need to Know. And what are we going to talk about today?
Well, start with a guess. What would you say is one of history's biggest mysteries?
Okay. I just told the audience, our listeners, that I was watching A Gentleman in Moscow. So when anybody says history right now, I'm going to be thinking of the Russian Revolution. Let me try to clear that out of my mind. One of the biggest mysteries, how the pyramids were built.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, there's so many of them, from how the pyramids were built to why Machu Picchu was abandoned. Like,
That's another good one.
Historians, we really don't have a good answer to these, but scientists have recently come closer to figuring out one of the biggest mysteries about one of the oldest man-made structures in Britain.
Cool.
And this is, the scientists have figured out where the large altar stone sitting at the center of Stonehenge came from.
I didn't think about Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge is one of those things, like, what was it used for? How did they get those huge stones there? Is it a calendar? Was it like a place of worship, right? So all of those questions, I'm sure, are not answered still, but they found, can you say it again, the altar stone?
Where the altar stone, the big stone at the center of the structure.
Okay, so like the main one.
Yeah.
Right, cool. So how did they figure this out?
Well, for the longest time, the archaeologists thought that this stone came from Wales because the big blue stones came from there, or at least that's what they thought at the time.
Because of that kind of rock, I guess?
Yeah, because it's a sedimentary rock, and that makes sense because the locations of Stonehenge is really void of large stones, and there's evidence of quarrying activities at the location in Wales at that time.
Really?
The location, however, is about 350 kilometers from the site.
That's far. It's far for that time period.
Yeah, for that time period. But after more research and a lot of the largest bluestone pillars, the ones that make up the vertical parts of the structure, only come from about 32 kilometers away from a place called Marlborough Downs.
So this was a case of mistaken identity. They thought the rocks came from much farther away,
Yep.
but it turns out probably much closer.
Yeah, so that's one, like the majority of the stones. However, it took the scientists a long time to figure out where the altar stone came from. Now, after using geochemical fingerprinting, the location where it came from has been located to northeast Scotland, which is about 700 to 750 kilometers away. So we were
Okay.
thinking Wales is
there
pretty
it
far
is.
away. This northeast Scotland is even farther away.
So in the picture we've got here up on the Naw tube.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Had,
it just there it is.
Yeah,
Would that be the altar stone here?
No, all those stones there, the ones that are standing up are the blue stones.
Okay, those would be from Wales
yeah.
or Marlborough Downs.
Marlborough Downs.
Okay, got it.
The large altar stone is actually now in two pieces at the center of the ring.
That might
Yeah.
be this here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that looks Scottish to me. Yeah. Yeah, I could just eyeball that and tell you. Well, the weird thing that you say about that, because Wales, as you mentioned, was 350 kilometers from Stonehenge, which I believe is in England, maybe in the center of England.
yeah, closer towards France, and closer
really?
towards the English Canal
Okay.
than northern Scotland.
Well, don't ask me about geography for sure. Okay, but Wales is much closer to that than Scotland would be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how far are we talking about? 700?
50 kilometers. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so why is this important to find out? Why should
Well,
we know this?
The monument itself was built about 5,000 years ago, and the stone altar is pretty big. For those who haven't been there, the stone is what the archaeologists call recumbent. It means that it's lying flat instead of standing.
That's what we saw in the picture as well. Okay.
And it's about 5 meters long, about 1 meter wide, and about half a meter thick. And it comes to a weight of about 6 tons.
Ooh.
So moving a stone that large is impressive, but the fact that it was so far away is even important.
Yeah.
Because no other stones from any other monument dating to that time period is known to have traveled so far.
We're talking about like worldwide?
Yep, at least in that time period.
Wow.
And what this indicates is that due to the difficulty of transporting such a large item that far, it suggests a degree of societal organization among Britain's Neolithic communities that was present earlier than current thinking indicates.
So it wasn't just the power of positive thinking moved that stone.
Yeah.
They had to work together.
They had to work together. Curtin University professor Chris Kirkland stated that this finding radically refines our understanding of prehistoric connectivity and the technology of Neolithic Britain.
Wow, very cool. Have you actually seen Stonehenge in person?
Not in person, no, not yet.
Me neither.
It is on my list.
Me too. I have been to England once, and next time if I get the chance to go again, I would definitely like to check it out because now that I know a little bit of information about it, it just makes it more interesting when you see it, right?
Yeah.
And you can appreciate like, wow, that thing, 6-ton rock came from Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
How? Aliens. I mean, aliens is the explanation, right? So this is what the scientists figured out?
Well, that's what they figured out. But they figured out how it came from there. Most of the stones from in Stonehenge are sandstone.
Okay.
Just a primer for those who haven't had science class in a while. As rivers travel, they break off small bits of rock. These rocks travel downstream and settle at the mouth of rivers. The larger pieces we call sand, and over time they build up and compress into new stone. This sandstone has many minerals in it, and researchers analyze the age of the chemistry of really 3 things in there: zircon, apatite, and rutile grains in the altar stone.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. They dated the zircon back to 1 to 2 billion years ago, and the apatite and rutile from 450 million years ago.
Wow, so that's very old rock.
Yeah.
Or very old minerals at least,
Very old
right?
minerals. And in order to do this, they used lasers to vaporize the chosen mineral in the rock and analyze the gas vapor, measuring the ratio of various kinds of uranium and lead in them to figure out the age and chemistry of the stone. And then they looked at the chemistry of the stones and matched it to the Scottish bedrock around the Orcadian Basin region.
Okay, so that's how they figured out where it came from, by using lasers, not aliens.
Lasers,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so have they figured out how it actually got there, though?
They think that they moved it by boat because of how mountainous the land routes are. There's lots of forests, lots
Right.
of mountains in that area between Scotland and southern England. Even the simpler boats of that time could have been more than easily used to transport it down the coastline.
Wow, would you like to be rowing on that boat?
Yeah.
We got to row a 6-ton, I'm sure, and there was probably multiple rocks that they had to move at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, well, especially because the altar stone in particular came from Scotland, does that mean because it came from so far away it was more important?
Well, it must have been, but the scientists really aren't sure what it was used for or why it was important. It's the only stone in the monument that isn't part of the circular design,
Right.
and it got its name not because we know what it's used for, but because of the interpretation of the 17th century architect Inigo Jones, because it looked like a table.
Oh, okay.
But nobody really knows what it was used for, and if it was always even in the position that it is,
Right.
and things like that. But we do know that at the summer solstice, the sun does hit it at sunset.
Oh, cool.
The site does remain a fascination and gives us a little glimpse into our ancient ancestors' lives.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I love this kind of stuff, to be honest. And when you said history, I didn't think nearly as far back as Stonehenge. I was like, 100 years ago, what happened? You know?
Yes.
So this is like ancient history.
Ancient history.
Right. Very cool. And I tell you what, we're going to come back with one more story. We're going to take a quick song break. Speaking of history, this song is I Fought the Law by the Bobby Fuller Four. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. That was I Fought the Law by the Bobby Fuller Four. And if you're a Busan punk rocker, you have probably heard the version by The Clash as well. So that's welcoming us back to Need to Know. We're back with Chris, and we're going to talk about another story. We just, before the break, we talked about Stonehenge, and we were talking about it during the break too, because I love talking about things like that. Human mysteries, right?
Yeah.
And will we have the answers to completely solve what it was? Probably never, right?
Probably never. But
That's kinda
it's
cool.
nice to have that question there.
Right?
Yeah, it
I
gives us
agree.
something to think about.
Exactly. If we figured out everything, then, I mean, what's there left to figure out?
Yeah.
But what are we going to figure out in our next story?
Well, here's a bit of a divisive question among people, especially young people.
Okay.
Do you like going to the spa?
No. No, I do not. Do you?
I do. I really enjoy going there. In fact, I've made it a mini mission to try all the bathhouses around Suyong to find the best one.
Okay.
So far, my favorite bath is one that gently electrocutes you,
See?
mixing water and electricity.
You almost talked me into it. I was like, maybe I should give it a shot. And
but-
then electricity. No.
Yeah, but it sounds dangerous, but it's not enough to actually cause any problems. And it's one of those that gives you, like, relaxes the muscle tension. You've got those devices that you stick to you and does those pulses.
Right, okay. If you go to like physical therapy sometimes they'll
it's
do that.
kind of like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. And then there are lots of things to like about the bathhouses and hot springs of Busan. And they're really healing that they have here. And it's not only that Korea that has these healing saunas. There's a traditional type of sauna therapy that is popular in rural parts of Ethiopia that are quickly catching fire with young populations in the cities.
Oh, okay. So this is something different than what we're used to?
Yeah, completely different.
Okay. So, but it's still considered a sauna?
Yeah.
What kind of sauna would it be?
Well, I wasn't kidding when I said catching fire.
no.
Imagine you're going into a warm room, you're pampered with a massage, you have a face mask of honey put on, then they do a hair treatment with butter, all while you're wearing this heavy cloak to keep the heat in from a small smoldering fire that is lit right below your chair.
Oh, no. I'm out. I'm out. Everything about this sounded bad.
This treatment, the fire and the cloak, are known as the Reboot, and this is part of a traditional Ethiopian sauna therapy.
All right, I'm just going to go over this list one more time. So first of all, you get a face mask of honey.
Yeah, sounds
I'm
delicious.
already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No way, man. Would you try it?
I think I would. Honey has lots of antiseptic, lots of good properties to it.
I like eating it. I'll be honest, I like eating it, but putting it on my face, I hate anything on my face. I just realized like how I'm like a nebbish, I think is the Yiddish word for this. I am very uncomfortable at all times, and if I had let somebody slather honey on my face, I'd just be like, oh, this is misery. But it doesn't end there.
Yes.
Hair treatment of butter, I guess I could maybe get a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's the fat and the butter, the fat solids that really help make your hair more luscious and more shiny.
They better put a lot of butter on me then.
Yeah.
I need a lot of butter for that. Okay, but also this heavy cloak.
Yes.
So the idea is there's a fire under your chair.
Yes.
And you keep a heavy cloak on while you're sitting on top of the
Yes.
fire. Oh my gosh, this sounds like torture.
Well, it really isn't.
Okay.
The fire is only made of twigs and herbs, so
okay.
really it's kept very small. So it's mostly
not
the
dangerous.
smoke that it's getting, and it's not able to grow large enough to cause any problems.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and it's really becoming a regular beauty treatment for the growing crowd of young urbanites in Ethiopian cities.
Okay, so obviously the facial treatment is good for your skin, I'm guessing, right? And the butter treatment is good for your hair. Are there any other benefits? Like, do you bulk up muscles by having a heavy cloak on all the time?
Something like that. Well, for any of our listeners who do go to Oriental medical doctors, this the way this sauna works will sound somewhat familiar.
Okay.
The Weba teas uses twigs from the Weba trees to fuel the fire, and the smoke from this fire has traditionally believed to have some medicinal power, being used to heal everything from aches and pains to recovery from childbirth.
Oh, wow.
One customer, a woman in her late 20s, visited because of pain in her thighs and lower back, and she left feeling relieved and refreshed from that
Really?
pain. Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So if you think about it, it sounds like, yeah, if you go to like a traditional medicine clinic here in Korea, some of those like incense treatments, right? Is that kind of similar? And is there any actually proof that this wood is the cause to, for the treatments?
It's very similar to that. There is some early evidence in small tests using mice and rats. A study published last year in the Journal of Evidence-Based Complexity and Alternative Medicine found that Weba extract could be used to develop treatments for the management of immune-related disorders.
Oh, wow.
Though it didn't quite explore the benefits of its smoke.
Yeah, the smoke part, I'm kind of confused on. Is like the smoke just, I guess, absorbed through your skin? Because you don't want to be sitting there breathing the smoke, I imagine.
Yeah, it does. Your skin does absorb some things from the environment.
Right, okay. So actually, this is interesting to me because I can't get a picture on who the clientele is. But you said it's like popular with young people, right?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular with young people. One spa owner brought the practice from her hometown more than 20 years ago, starting with one spa.
Right.
This year, she's about to open her third. She said that when she started the business, it was only older women who used the service, and now it's mostly younger women.
Wow.
One thing you'll not find are very many men doing this service, though.
Let's be the first. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're willing to do it. You go first.
Yeah.
You tell me how it is. Especially the honey on the face, man. I don't know if I could do that. Like a whole covering of your face. Oh, I don't know. Is Ethiopia actually the only place where this is going on, though?
Well, there are many places in Africa where this practice is found. It's actually called Dakan in Sudan.
Okay.
But types of sauna using medicinal herbs can be found all around the world.
Right.
There's one in Estonia that has a tradition of using a wood fire sauna, and before they take dips in ice cold water. The Native Americans often used beaten roots of wild parsnip to fill the air with fragrant steam in their sweat lodges.
Right.
In Korea, it's similar to the dum, where mugwort is used to create the smoke.
Okay. And I've had this experience myself. When I lived in Eastern Europe, my host father I was living with during the winter, he would ask me to hit him on the back with a bunch of branches, Russian-style sauna.
Russian-style sauna, yep.
Yeah.
And in the United States, an alternative form, sometimes known as V-steaming, popularized by people like Goop founder Gwyneth Paltrow, started becoming popular among the alternative medical community. This is done with steam rather than fire, rather than smoke, and this one really shows no proof of any medical benefits.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for that a little bit too. I mean, but it probably feels good, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that mind over matter is part of it too. When you know
There's something with the placebo effect being very powerful.
Yeah. Right. What about side effects, though? Is that any dangers?
Well, for the Ethiopian Weba teas, none are known at the moment. The Ethiopian State Minister of Culture, I'm going to butcher this name, Workin Biru, said in a statement, "We do understand that further studies are needed on this, but we have proved it on ourselves."
Well, there you go.
So hopefully more studies will continue and be conducted in the future.
Well, and I'm going to let Chris conduct the test here. If it's possible to find this in Korea yet, I doubt it, right?
Probably not yet.
Right. But whenever you get to experience it, of course, you can tell us about it, right?
Yes.
And then I'll think about putting honey on my face. Well, Chris, that was a lot of fun today. Thank you so much for coming in for Need to Know.
Thanks for having me, and I'm so glad you're back.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. And of course, I'll see you next week.
Yep.
And we're going to have to call it quits for hour number 1. But we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Vehicle by Ides of March, and we'll be back at 3 p.m. for hour 2.
BEFM 부산영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다. 부산영어방송과 함께하는 제2회 중구청장배 청소년 영어 말하기 대회. 나의 롤모델을 소개합니다.
We all need someone who inspires us to do better than we know how. We envision our dreams and live by striving to achieve them. Along the way, we discover our role models we aspire to follow. How about you? Do you have your own role model? 글로벌 허브 도시 부산에 살고 있는 아이들이 꿈꾸는 롤모델은 어떤 모습일까요? We can look at the dreams of Busan's local youth and find out how they dream about their role model in the speech contest. 9월 7일 토요일 오전 11시 부산 영화체험박물관에서 펼쳐질 청소년 영어 말하기 대회에서 부산 지역 꿈나무들이 꿈꾸는 미래의 모습을 확인해보세요. 제2회 중구청장대 청소년 영어 말하기 대회는 중구진로교육지원센터와 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot with your host, Casey McKeever. The song you just heard was Viva La Vida by Coldplay. Has anybody never heard that song? Is there anybody out there who's never heard that song? I don't think so, right? That is one of those songs I think everybody knows. And according to the frontman Chris Martin, in case you don't know who he is, he's the singer for Coldplay, he said about this particular song, I think everything we're trying to do at the moment is about not starting again so much as breaking down what we've built up before and trying to build something different and hopefully better or worse in a good way. And this song is one of our favorites because none of us are doing anything on it that we've ever done before. I'm curious what he means by that. He says, we really enjoy playing it. The longer you go on as a band, the harder it is to surprise yourself. That I completely understand. Yes, if you're in a band, you can quickly settle into your roles, and I think that works for any group or any team of people that you work with together at the same thing. You just kind of accept your roles and you just kind of stick it, kind of get stuck in a place and kind of, I guess for them, that song was a way to break out of that. And they got rewarded for it. The song won Song of the Year at the Grammy Awards in 2009. They performed it on the broadcast that year. And the album they released with that also won for Best Rock Album. And probably some people were upset because they beat out Metallica for that award. And Chris Martin had to explain. He said, we're not the heaviest of rock bands. We're more like Limestone, a little softer, but just as charming. Oh, that's a nice kind of self-effacing way of saying that. I guess it's better to be limestone than sandstone. That's what I learned from Chris in Need to Know. Sandstone has got a lot of, old elements and minerals in there. Well, welcome back to the show, everybody. You're listening to us live in the studio here, coming to you from Busan on this Monday afternoon. We're on BEFM 90.5 here in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. We're broadcasting on TBS EFM 101.3 FM in Seoul, and also in Gwangju, we're on GGN 98.7 FM. And thank you for joining us wherever you might be today. I'm happy to be your host, Casey McKeever. Happy to be back here on this Monday with you. And I'm sure it's a hot one out there, so stay safe, stay cool out there. We've got a lot coming up for you in hour number 2. First up, we've got our in hour number 2, our daily list. And 1437 Nim was looking forward to that. So starting soon, I promise. We're going to talk about ways to make your life better starting today. You don't even have to wait till tomorrow. Next up after that, we'll have Me, Myself, and I. We're going to talk today about how to avoid feeling lonely in later life. And this is something we probably all will have to deal with at some point. You just kind of don't see people as much as you used to. And this is ways to avoid feeling lonely in that kind of situation. And then finally, we'll have our perfect playlist for today. We're going to have 2 songs about freedom, because that is our theme for the week on the perfect playlist. And freedom is something very important. If you're not sure, you can watch the miniseries A Gentleman in Moscow, and they constantly talk about how important freedom is. So I don't even have to say any more. You can just enjoy that yourself and see for yourself. I also will be checking your messages throughout the show, so if you want to let me know, today's question of the day, I was hoping to get some answers about habits, and particularly what are some of your habits that you want to change starting tomorrow. You can enjoy the rest of the day like it is, but tomorrow there's some habits you just got to get rid of. 여러분의 습관 중 내일부터 바꾸고 싶은 것은 무엇인가요? And I did get a couple messages I wanted to check real quick here. Let's see. Oh, and I got a nice photo to look at from Lee Kelly Nim. Oh, that's the picture of the Ethiopian sauna that Chris was talking about on Need to Know. Yes, we looked up a couple of pictures. We saw what the facial mask made out of honey looks like. I think I'll pass. I don't know. So I'm not sure if I could do that. I'm not a big fan of the saunas in general. I don't know why. I like to stay home. I think that's the reason, perhaps. But this is it's a different one. It's definitely unique. You can see people sitting on a chair, and there's smoke coming out from under the chair. Lee Kelly Nim says, lighting a fire under people's behinds? LOL. Yes, that is one way to motivate people. That's the old phrase for that, right? Light a fire under there. See what happens. So yes, thank you for sending in your message. And of course, you can say, I got a bunch of messages there on the NawTube. Welcome back, Jack Kim, to you too. Thank you. I got a lot of welcome back messages. Thank you, Catherine, as well. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. And we're going to take a quick song break because I want to get to the daily list, right? So we're going to listen to That Boy on the Stage by Suede, and then we'll be back with today's daily list. I just realized how much I missed that music. That music means it is time for the daily list. And, well, you just heard the song before that, of course. That was That Boy on the Stage by Suede. I was enjoying that song as well. But my theme song for the daily list, I really missed. I love that Casio sound. Makes me pumped up. I want to get ready. And today's daily list, let's get ready because these are ways to make your life better starting today. These ideas come from professionals. I'm a professional, perhaps on the air, but these are from professionals who are related to wellness and health and well-being. So these are their recommendations, and I think a lot of these are really good. Our first one, silence your phone for an hour. Just do it. And this is something you could do today. Turn off your notifications, and that will enable you to turn on your senses. Because your phone, basically, all it does is distract you. It pulls you out of the moment. So if you actually turn off those notifications, you won't get interrupted. You can focus. You can get things done. Sometimes I will actually completely turn off the phone. That way I get nothing. No warnings of any kind. If you can do it, do it. If you feel like an hour is too much, maybe just start with like 15 minutes and then kind of work your way up a little bit so you start to feel more comfortable with each time. And then you won't even have to look at your phone. It's something you can do. I'm telling you, I was in the U.S. for like 2 weeks. I didn't have like roaming service or anything like that. And I was happy to not be near my phone. I was definitely using it a lot less than I do here. And I felt much better doing that. According to these people, according to these professionals, Guy Richard and Jennifer Mueller, you'll also feel healthier and more self-assured if you're not feeling the need to look at your phone every few minutes, or especially this one, compare your life to the lives of other people on social media. That is the most damaging one for me. I always feel like somebody's doing something way more exciting than me. And what's wrong with my life? Don't do that to yourself. Next up, Exercise for at least 20 minutes most days. This one I do not do. Okay, I'll take note. Why should you exercise? This is a way to relieve stress, relieve tension, and if you feel more physically fit, it's probably a safe bet that you'll enjoy your life more. When you get regular exercise, you also have more energy during the day to do the things that you want to and probably need to do. It's actually a way to boost your energy, not to take away your energy. And if you don't have to force yourself to do things when you're, dragging and feeling tired, that's definitely an improvement. You'll also find that you have more energy to do things that you really want to do when it finally comes time to do those as well. So for example, you might find the energy to take up a new hobby or activity in the evenings instead of just kind of lounging around in front of the TV until you fall asleep. And I have definitely been in that pattern in my life before. I do not want to go into that one again. So exercise for at least 20 minutes. And that's not a lot, actually. I use an app on my phone that's exercise for like 7 minutes. Do 2 sets of that. That's 14. Do 1 more set. You got 21 minutes. Boom, done. And it's nice having something telling you what to do. I use my phone for that purpose, for sure. Next up, we've got spending more time with positive people. This is a good change that you could make starting today for sure. You probably have some good friends that just make you feel better. Positive people will give you energy. They'll boost the enthusiasm that you have for life. And that kind of just makes everything a little bit nicer and rosier, right? So you can dedicate yourself to spending more time with the people in your life who you really feel that motivate you, accept you, and love you. Try to avoid people who don't do that for you. I'm sure you'll have to spend some part of your day with people who don't make you feel great. Try to limit that as much as possible and spend more time with people that you really care about. Next up, drink plenty of water. I will during the break. Yes, I need to as well. I got water right here. Water is really important. Obviously staying hydrated is good for you for several reasons. One of them, your skin. Makes your skin tone nicer, better for digestion, better for your energy level. On the show, perhaps within the last month, I can't remember what segment it was on, but we talked about flying. And one of the tips for flying was to hydrate because you're going to need more water than you normally do. And I did that. I took that advice. It helped so much. I drank so much water and I didn't even have to go to the restroom as much as I would expect because I guess you're just, very dehydrated when you're on a plane. When you drink a lot of water, you'll find you're more able to concentrate, think more clearly. So just carry a water bottle with you so you always have some on hand. And if you replace those sugary carbonated beverages with water, you might even lose a little weight. I noticed some people talking today in their, things they want to change. Losing weight was mentioned a couple times. Yeah, get rid of those sodas. Yeah, replace it with water. I do not drink soda. I can't remember the last time I had one. You'll definitely feel better. You'll feel less sluggish. And you don't actually have to fulfill all of your body's water requirements by drinking plain water. You can also get some water through food, other drinks as well, but make sure that there's a good part of the water that's in there. And you can, if you're bored by water, add like a twist of lemon or lime or get fancy, throw some mint in there. That's cool too. It works. You should also limit your consumption of coffee, the soft drinks I mentioned, and other caffeinated beverages, and also alcohol because they do also dehydrate you as well. Next up, we've got eat nutritious whole foods. This is something you can start today for dinner. Eat something with a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Try to get a lot of variety. Add some lean protein such as poultry or fish, and go for the healthy whole grain breads. Don't go for that white bread. Put that white bread away. My mom, I got to call her up and talk about that. Too much white bread at the house. I felt terrible. I was eating so much white bread. You'll feel fuller throughout the day when you eat whole grains. You won't be tempted to grab some fast food or snacks and, eat that junk food that is just awfully delicious but terrible for you, right? So instead of that, keep a lot of healthy, nutritious snacks on hand so that when you do crave something, you have something good that won't wreck your eating plans. Sound good? All right, I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to take a song break and listen to What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, and we'll be back with more of the Daily List. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. And PD Nim, you're getting a lot of compliments on your 노래. 노래 좋은데요. You're getting a lot of nice comments on the songs we're playing today. So 수고하셨습니다. Yeah, and we're back with the daily list. We were talking about some things that you can do starting today to make your life better, right? Next up, we've got, this is something I totally agree with. Choose the more active option. What they mean by this is incorporate regular physical activity into your daily life. So before the song break, we were talking about exercise for at least 20 minutes, right? So that's like specifically thinking in your mind, okay, I have to exercise. Like perhaps for you that might mean going to the gym or having some specific equipment. But what this means is, tough grammar there, huh? This means anytime you have an option, whether to be lazy or to be more active, take the active option. So in other words, if you live in an office or live in an apartment building and you have an elevator, don't take the elevator if you can take the stairs, for example, right? So there's a lot of things you can do this way. This will help you, perhaps if you have one of those step goals that you have on your phone or on your watch, and you're trying to hit a step goal, this can help you get there, right? So, for example, let's say you're going to work and you want to take the bus, or you usually take the subway. Well, get off one stop early. Walk more, right? You could just try to incorporate more walking, more activity into your life as much as possible. If you're going shopping, park a little farther away. I kind of do this all the time, usually unintentionally because there's no parking close up, but I kind of appreciate it, the fact that I have to walk a little bit more. So yes, when you have the choice, choose the more active option. Next up, we've got start a gratitude practice. What is that? All right, make a simple list. Make a list of 5 things that you're grateful for. Set aside 5 minutes or so each day to think of these 5 things that you can add to your gratitude list. And try not to repeat yourself. So the act of repeatedly focusing on things that you're grateful for can rewire your brain to focus on the positive and help improve your overall mood and outlook on life. So according to one of the authors behind this study, this article, Guy Richard, he says, the appreciation game is a good way to raise one's vibe. Really get into it and express why you appreciate this or that. In no time, your emotions will elevate and you'll sense a lighter, more enjoyable state or vibe. Cool. Next up, celebrate your achievements. Boost your self-esteem by recognizing your success because you succeed at something every day, right? Even in small things, right? Doesn't matter. Something big, something small, take a moment and be like, hey, that's pretty cool that I did that. I accomplished something that I wanted to do. You can even share this with other people. When you make a big deal about your achievements, you kind of remind yourself that you're capable of doing great things. And then you naturally start to focus more on the things you do than on the things that you fail at. Because that's what a lot of us do. When we fail at something, it's like, oh, that's the only thing you can think about, right? So kind of flip that. Focus on what you do well, and you'll feel better about yourself. Next up, we've got budget your money. This is something you can do starting today, I assume. It doesn't have to be a fancy budget, but okay, the idea is to get in control of your finances, be a little bit more flexible with your budget. Basically, make a routine that what you do with your time, the same way that works, make a routine for what you do with your money. Take a moment, try to list how much money you make, how much money you spend, and then try to organize things to create your budget. So when you understand how your money is working, how much is coming in and how much is going out, you kind of have a better ability to plan for the future and also save for things that are unexpected, like a sudden airplane ticket. Yes, those can be very expensive, right? Our last way to improve your life today, get involved with a fulfilling hobby. This is some way to help you grow and evolve by learning something new. And why not start today? You know, you might have a bucket list already of things that you've always wanted to do. Try it out now. Start today. Start looking up some resources locally that you can have in your community. Perhaps a group you can meet up with if it's something where it requires group work. Perhaps a music endeavor or an art endeavor or a writing endeavor. A lot of times it's easier to start those things with a group than by yourself. And you might find something that you really love to do. If you're not sure where to get started, Richard recommends that you remember what used to bring you joy, excitement, and enthusiasm in your past. And for example, did you play soccer as a kid and love that? Well, see if there's a local community league that you can join here. Richard says that you should have You should get in touch with that part of you that is fun and likes to have fun, and then let yourself enjoy life from that part of you for a while. Encourage yourself to look for the fun or funny, the light and positive, and you'll find it. Cool, right? So this is today's daily list. These are things, ways to make your life better starting today, and all kind of pretty easy to follow, I think, and all good ideas. And that's going to do it for today's daily list. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Curtains by Ed Sheeran.
Can you pull the curtain?
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just listened to the song Curtains by Ed Sheeran. And now it is time for Me, Myself, and I, where we talk about what it's like to be human. And right, different behaviors and the things we do. And also how our lives kind of change over time. And that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about how to avoid feeling lonely in later life. And this comes to us from a psychologist named David Ludden. He's got some tips that he wrote in an article about this, and also a recent study about this and basically how it is something that affects all kind of aging populations in every country, right? Some things that happen as we get older, people move away, we lose people, you kind of get out of touch with people. And then also you might have like health or mobility issues that prevent you from going out and interacting with others the way you used to. And there are studies that show that older people are actually no more likely to suffer from chronic loneliness than other age groups, but it's apparently more difficult to get out of social isolation compared to younger people. So this is a fact that makes loneliness such a significant health risk, both physically and psychologically for older adults. And this was the topic of an article that was recently published in the journal Current Opinion in Psychology by psychologist Oliver Huxhold and Catherine Fiore. And one thing they do is, first of all, describe what are 3 levels of social needs that we all have. So what they wanted to clarify was what loneliness is. What is the nature of loneliness? Because loneliness doesn't just mean being alone. Sometimes you want to be alone, right? Sometimes you actually need time by yourself and can enjoy solitude. So loneliness is that feeling that your social needs aren't being met for whatever reason. And it kind of drives us to seek social interaction in the same way that maybe when you're hungry, you seek food. The authors also said that our social needs occur on 3 levels. So these 3 levels are basically, if you think about it as a pyramid, as they often do in science, right? On the top level, what we need here are a few close confidants who give us a sense of intimacy and also support. And then we have a middle level, which is a little bit broader. And this is a broader social network that provides friendship and fun. And then on the bottom level, kind of the base, right? We need connection with a community that we actually feel we're contributing to and from which we can get a sense of respect. So these are the 3 levels of social needs. And we can actually feel lonely if our needs aren't even met at just one of those levels. So you basically need all 3 of them, right? Of course, the cure for loneliness takes effort, and you have to get involved in a community. You have to attend activities that provide opportunities for cultivating new friends, for finding new friends, making new friends. And it can be difficult to get yourself out of a loneliness rut at any time in your life, for sure, whether you're young or whether you're older. These feelings can lead to depression and negative attitudes about other people around you. So that's not easy to break out of, right? And if you find that you can't actually muster the effort or courage to put yourself out into the world, perhaps it's time to seek counseling to overcome social anxiety, because you do need to get out into the world. That being said, according to this article, older adults they have found who have fallen into the loneliness trap often experience more difficulty than younger people for extracting themselves out of this kind of situation. One reason is they have a more limited capacity to engage in social activities. And as I mentioned before, one example of that might be health issues, preventing people from leaving home as often as they would like to, or as often as they used to, perhaps. And as I was saying before, I was in the United States and for 2 weeks, and I quickly realized how important having a car is for getting anywhere you want to go. You know, I kind of take it for granted here in Korea. Sometimes I don't want to take the car, and then the bus is an option, the subway is an option. And as you get older, perhaps driving is not the best option anymore. In places like the United States where everybody needs to drive, you might find yourself staying at home because you have no other options, right? So this is something that happens to people in all kinds of places. You might be able to not attend social events you wanted to get to because transport is an impossibility. So what can you do about this, right? Well, according to Huxhold and Fiore, they said seniors tend to have better social skills than younger adults because they've had time to own those skills over their lifetime. So that's an advantage older people actually have. For example, younger people are kind of more willing to tolerate friends who bring drama into their lives because they want to maintain their social network, despite it taking a toll on their emotional well-being. People who are older, who have lived a bit more, have more experience with that kind of situation are like, no, I don't need this kind of person in my life, and are more willing to sever ties with people like that. That is something that comes with age and wisdom, right? This does reduce their social network at the same time, however, right? But also it does reduce emotional distress. So as a general rule, Older adults tend to maintain smaller but more supportive social networks in contrast to the larger but more turbulent, as they say, networks that young people have. So what can you do if if you end up with a smaller network, social network, and you kind of, are running out of people that you can talk to or interact with? The best thing you can do is to actually lay down a solid social network before you get older. A lot of people rely on work and the workplace as a place to fulfill their social needs. That could be everything from chatting with colleagues during office hours to socializing with them outside the office as well. But then when you stop working, suddenly those people might not be easy to contact anymore, right? It's a good idea to have good working relationships with coworkers, but it's also important to keep in mind that, someday you probably will retire or change jobs, and then you're probably not going to be as connected with them as much as you used to be, and you need to have somebody as a backup, basically. That's why it's important to cultivate intimate relationships with family members and at least a few close friends outside of the office. And these are people you will probably stay in contact with outside of retirement. So if you find yourself already in the post-retirement senior years, how much loneliness you're likely to experience probably depends greatly on your current circumstances. And speaking of Americans again, they kind of pride themselves on this idea of being individualistic. And a lot of older adults insist on living alone in their own homes, even though staying with younger family members or in a senior community would be perhaps more opportunity for socializing. It's kind of difficult for people, especially with that mindset, to pull themselves out of this trap of loneliness. But if you're still able, if you're still mobile, look for volunteer opportunities to get yourself out of the house and interact with others. And kind of, at the same time, you're also helping other people, maybe serving other people. This is a great way to just boost your mood in general. And you, as an older adult, you probably have a wealth of wisdom that you've accumulated and a lot of value to offer to other people. So this is a lot of really great advice for, how to avoid the loneliness that often can come in later life. And that's going to do it for me, myself, and I today. Hopefully that was some good advice we could all use, actually. I don't think you have to wait till later in life to use that. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Come Back to Me by Tom Scott, and then we'll be back with our perfect playlist. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was Come Back to Me by Tom Scott. Smooth R&B jam there. And now it is time for our perfect playlist. And we do this every Monday through Friday. We have a theme every week. And this week's theme is songs about freedom. And freedom is something we all hold dear. Whether we talk about it or not, we all do. Because when it's taken away, that's the first thing we're like, I want to be free. So this week we've got, today, actually, we got two songs about the topic of freedom. Our first one is by, I think, a pretty well-known band called Wham, and the song is called Freedom. And this song actually finds the singer telling a girl that he wants to fully commit to her and not have one of those relationships where they can see other people. So that might be misleading if you think about the title, but there's a specific meaning to the song Freedom. And when Wham actually went to China to perform in April of 1985, they became the first Western pop act to play a concert in China, which was a milestone, I imagine, for sure, right? While there was absolutely nothing political about the song. They used footage from the trip to make a music video for the track, and it kind of implied a more global meaning of the title. So there we go. That'll be our first song. Our second song for today is Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz. And the original intention for Lenny Kravitz for this song was to release it as a B-side. And that would have been a mistake because this song blew up very quickly. And by this time he released the song, the album was already with his record company. So a friend who heard it actually convinced him to include the song on the album. That person was very smart because it ended up winning a Grammy for Best Male Rock Vocal Performance for Lenny Kravitz. So it's good to have good friends, right? Sometimes we need good advice. Unlike other songs, Fly Away was basically as simple as it could be. Even Kravitz admitted that there was no deep meaning to be analyzed. The song reflects one's desire to fly away above the trees and to anywhere I please. That's a pretty simple definition of what people mean by freedom, right? So those are going to be our two songs for today's perfect playlist. First up, Freedom by Wham, followed by Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. That song was Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz. And before that, you heard Freedom by Wham. And those were our two songs for today's Perfect Playlist. Both songs about freedom. And that is our theme for the Perfect Playlist for this week. Let's realize how important freedom is to us, right? We need that. Freedom isn't free. All right. And I got a lot of messages. I wish I could share all of them. I got a lot of messages about the question of the day and other messages as well. Thank you so much for participating in today's show. The question of the day was, what are some of your habits you want to change from tomorrow? 여러분의 습관 중 내일부터 바꾸고 싶은 것은 무엇인가요? And a couple I wanted to share as I was just kind of scrolling through. Jack Kim says, rather than to clinch a goal, it is fun to see how I am changing and develop my skills, something that has improved as well. So, sometimes, what do they say? It's the journey, not the destination. So perhaps, instead of worrying about particular habits, just kind of appreciate your overall change in life instead of picking apart things that you don't like about yourself. I guess that was kind of some of the other advice we were talking about today as well. And, one of the things we were talking about, how to make your life better today. Actually, staying hydrated. I got an interesting message from Choi Hee-suk Nim who says, I drink honey water, just water is not tasty. And I never really thought about it, but I think that water tastes good. I don't know how I can explain that. But yeah, I'm with you on the honey water. Sure, I like that as well, especially when I'm not feeling good. A little honey and hot water, squeeze a lemon in there, sure. But I think water tastes good. Is that insane? I don't know. But thank you for your messages. I appreciate it. And hopefully tomorrow I have a little more time to get to some more of your messages as well. Because we're going to have to wrap up the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:05 p.m. We're going to play a song requested by Soy Nim. This is Motorcycle Emptiness by Manic Street Preachers. Have a great day, everybody, and stick around for Your Busan.